So I wanted to discuss nihilism in American culture with Quentin Tarantino's film. It's called Pulp Fiction. And see if I can walk around here. The film is ostensibly quite nihilistic in that it is a story that's told out of chronological order. It is a story where one of the key heroes dies halfway through the movie. The people themselves are kind of nihilistic. They are funny, interesting guys, but in the middle of that, they're killing people and robbing people, and that's considered kind of normal, as if they were like, you know, in a funny sitcom or something. And so it's nihilistic in that sense. So what is nihilism? Nihilism is nothingism. Nihil or nihil in the Latin means nothing. So like in Judaism, you believe in the religion of the Jews, and Christianity, you believe in, you know, Christ as the Son of God. Nihilism means you don't believe in any of those things. You don't believe in anything external to like just what you know materially. And there's a kind of materialistic view too, that symbolic thinking, mythic thinking are lies. They're not really offering anything true. It's just like an opinion. In fact, they're not even an opinion. It's just like an out and out lie. It's not really true. And so I want to offer a couple of theses and see if these resonate. In T.S. Eliot's book, I guess it's an essay called The Idea of a Christian Society, T.S. Eliot, who was a Christian, one of the major poets of the early 20th century in English, wrote, "It is in Christianity that our arts have developed. It is in Christianity that the laws of Europe are rooted. If Christianity goes, the whole culture goes." And he wrote also, "A negative liberal society must eventually give way to something else, something with a more positive view of what it stands for." So in other words, the idea here is that, let me do some drawing board here with a pen. Switch to the phone cam. And say a few things here with regard to this. If on the one hand you have the idea that, you know, in Christianity, it has its religion, and that gave rise, as Eliot says, to these laws and these cultures, these social mores, this art, the architecture, the Chartres Cathedral, these great cathedrals, that gives rise to a culture. If the ancient Greeks had their religion with gods and goddesses, as well as the ideas of like the good life and philosophy, that gave rise to Greek culture. If the ancient Hebrews, you know, based on the Bible, had their religious practices, that gave rise to that culture. If the ancient Buddhists in India and in China and elsewhere, that gave rise to those great cultures as well. The modern world, says Eliot, has a problem. It doesn't have any single religion. It's kind of multicultural, or in some cases even non-cultural. There's no religion, but for the most part, it's multicultural. So what does that give rise to? And he says it's a little bit too unsolid. And so if it's a little bit wishy-washy, I'm just gonna like go like that, like it's wishy-washy, it's gonna get replaced by something else. And so in his time, those strong beliefs that we're going to replace the liberalism, liberal not in the sense of liberal conservative, but liberal as in like Western democracy, he saw like Marxism is a strong viewpoint about what we should do. That was coming into Eastern Europe and other places. And fascism in Germany and Italy was coming in, and to some extent Spain. Another really strong viewpoint that was not multicultural. And so this is the danger that Eliot was wrestling with. I think he's wrong, largely because I think I'm hopeful about the modern world, and I'm in the United States, modern America, other Western countries. But it is an issue that we have to think about. Can you build a culture on stories about nothing? So and I'm getting this from a book by Thomas Hibbs, and I think it's called, I'll have to look it up, Stories About Nothing, Thomas Hibbs. And this is nihilism. So like, if these stories above here have a story of Jesus or Moses or, Odysseus, Oedipus, the Buddha, those stories are about something, about a way that a person attains fulfillment, a telos. So one idea is that a human life has a kind of direction, and it sort of starts off, and like there's some ups and there's some downs, and there's some ups and downs. Hopefully you're kind of growing, and then you hit a kind of fullness or fulfillment. This is a fulfilled life. This is what the Greeks called a telos. Or another thing is, that's not the same thing as telos, you reach happiness, but not happiness in the sense of ha ha ha, I'm so happy, but as in like a fulfilled life. That is called eudaimonia. Good demonness, like having your good demon guiding you. Demon not in a bad sense, like a spirit. And so this is what's at stake here. And we're going to look at this film in just like one or two clips, maybe just one to start off with, that will help us think this through. And so let's go to my computer and see if I can get this to work correctly. This is my first time trying this. Here is this one. Has the bad words edited out, so that's what I wanted. And here is these two characters, Jules and Vincent, are gangsters. They just were shot at, and the assailant missed every time. And they're looking at the bullet holes in the wall, and Jules thinks this is a miracle, and Vincent thinks that's nothing, it's just luck. Does it have a significance? Does it have a meaning? Does it have a symbolic resonance? Or is it just nothing? It just happens. So let's see a quick discussion of this scene.
In a jailhouse with the cops.
We should be fucking dead, my friend. What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to fucking acknowledge it.
All right, it was a miracle. Can we go now?
Actually, let me get a little bit earlier in the scene where he gets more into the discussion of it. Oh, so this is where they killed the guy. Let's just look at this.
Why the fuck didn't you tell us somebody was in the bathroom? Slip your mind? Did you forget that someone was in there with a goddamn hand cannon?
You see the size of that gun he fired at us? It was bigger than him. We should be fucking dead, man.
I know, we was lucky.
No. That shit wasn't luck.
Yeah, maybe.
This was divine intervention. You know what divine intervention is?
I think so. That means that God came down from heaven and stopped the bullets?
That's right. That's exactly what it means. God came down from heaven and stopped these motherfucking bullets.
I think it's time for us to leave, Jules.
Don't do that. Don't fucking blow this shit up. What just happened here was a fucking miracle.
Chill, Jules. This shit happens.
Wrong. Wrong. This shit doesn't just happen.
Do you want to continue this theological discussion in a car or in a jailhouse with the cops?
We should be fucking dead, my friend. What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to fucking acknowledge it.
So we have this scene where these two characters are seeing something that happened. One of them says nothing happened, or it's just an event after an event after an event. It has no real arc. It has no real meaning. Let me see if I can go back to this one. It just happened, whereas the other one is saying what? He's saying it has a meaning. It's actually a significant. It's a sign that's telling me something. And let me just turn this light on. Open up a little more light here. And so let me see if I can draw the idea here that they're alluding to, the idea that, is life just an event, and an event, an event, an event? Just like the world's just made as like an object and an object, and but there's no kind of story arc, there's no kind of direction, there's no telos. Telos, again, an end, a purpose, a meaning, a purpose. Do things have a purpose? Or are they just there? And these are two really fundamentally different views of the world. Oops, I lost. And so, yeah, these are the ideas here. And Jules is saying, of course, that he saw that it's not just a series, that there's a kind of a pattern, that there's a kind of a direction that it's going in, that there's a finger of God, that there's a finger of whether he thinks it's God or if it's just like a meaning. It's also a way of thinking, like, is there a discernible signal? Because like the world is full of noise. There's all this sound, and there's just like white noise. It's like just like kind of a white noise. But is there a pattern in that noise? Like it can just be like nothing, but sometimes you start to discern among that noise. Yeah, the world is messy. But maybe there's is there a face there that starts to emerge if you are paying attention? That's supposed to be a smiley face. Anyway, so that's what we're getting at here. And what I was saying is that American culture has a strong strand of nihilism, one that is prominent in the arts and in the universities. I mean, it's kind of everywhere, but like these films, like Tarantino's film, my guitar's about to fall down. Let me put it over here for a second. And so in this film by Tarantino, and I love this film, I'm not saying it's a bad film, but it wrestles with, and one of the great things about it is that it deals with nihilism, but it plays with it. It shows this dialogue between these two characters and like the question of maybe these things mean something. And in this film, as I said, there's limited character development. The chronology of events is out of order. One of the key heroes, Vincent, I'm sorry, I'm ruining the story for you here, dies halfway through the movie. You're like, what? That's not supposed to happen in a movie. People have desires and aims, like they want that briefcase or they want that money, but they don't really have a telos. There's no fulfillment in the end. Like none of these characters is ever really gaining fulfillment. They just get something or they don't. They just kind of want and they get, they want and they fail. It's just a story of nothingness, as opposed to a story like you find the pay dirt of joy, the kind of fulfillment when you fall in love, when you get married, when you beat the bad guy, when you build a great culture or build a great work of art. Those are like a moment of fulfillment a moment of fullness, or the grandparent playing with their grandchildren, like a kind of their summation of their life kind of coming into that moment. And so, except with this character, Jules. So when I asked a group of young professionals to think about this, I asked them the question, does this film offer a story arc, a sense of that there is a meaning in life, or a sense of what a fully lived human life consists of, a eudaimonia? And one of the things in our discussion that came out was that, yes, this character Jules is definitely an outlier. Many, in fact, in the scene we just saw, just before that, Jules had just shot a guy. In fact, he had shot 2 guys in cold blood, because he was told to by his boss. You know, it's just kind of, that's the job of a gangster. And then he has this moment of change, whereas Vincent doesn't. And then in the scene after it, like in that scene, one guy shot at them and accidentally missed. In the next scene, they're driving in the car. We won't see it, I'll just tell you. And as they're driving, the guy is pointing the gun by accident at their kidnappee. They've kidnapped this guy, and he's in the back of the car, and he's talking to him, and they're driving along, and they hit a bump in the road, and he accidentally shoots him in the face and kills him. And they start yelling, "You idiot, why'd you do that?" And it's kind of this bizarre, funny scene. So this is nihilism too, like this act of murder is funny, or that it's portrayed in a funny context. And then it's just seen as kind of a bumbling, mistake, and yet they've killed a guy. This is another form of the nihilism. Then we had the question, does American culture in the 21st century have enough narrative resources for building a positive culture? That gets back to the T.S. Eliot question. Can these modern multicultural societies focused on liberty, commerce, like basically we're a culture that focuses on letting us make money. Is that enough to satisfy the heart and to inspire a society to be a unified culture and to make great works of art like the cathedrals, like the Greek temples, like the Muslim mosques? And it's an open question. Like our modern, architecture, a lot of it's kind of ugly. I mean, some of it's beautiful. I'm a fan of modern architecture, but it's a question we need to wrestle with. Like, how do we build that culture? And I guess I'm going to finish with a song and see if I can play the song and then interpret it for us as a way of thinking about this topic. And it's a song from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I hope this works because I'm not that expert at this. I was just learning it a minute ago. But I'll tell you the lyrics. It's called Black Summer. And my theory is that this gets at this theme because you have a black summer, a kind of nothingness summer. And you're waiting, and they're waiting for another black summer to end. Like our lives are kind of like this unfulfilled, unlit up summers. And so he's got these lines like, oh, let me just play it. Here it goes. Oh, I need to do this. I'm gonna put this here. See if this works. just like noon. The sailors speak too soon, and China's on the dark side of the moon. Hear me now. You know, I'm going to put this on the OBS so you can see it. Let's go there. Okay. Let's see if this works. Platypus are few, the secret life of Rue, a personality I never knew. My Greta weighs a ton, archers on the run, and no one stands alone above the sun. It's been a long time since I made a new friend, waiting on another black summer to end. It's been a long time and you never know when, waiting on another black summer to end. Crack the flaming whip and sailing on a censorship, riding on the headless horse to make the trip. Been a long time since I made a new friend, waiting on another black summer to end. It's been a long time and you never know when, waiting on another black summer to end. I've been waiting, I've been waiting, waiting on another black summer to end. I've been waiting, I've been waiting, waiting on another black summer to end. I've been waiting, waiting on another black summer to end. So the lyrics there that I'm thinking of, so you're waiting on this black summer to end, and it's not ending. You keep waiting. The story ends without it ending. There's no end in that sense. I've been waiting. And let's go back to the beginning. A lazy rain am I, the skies refuse to cry. Cremation takes its piece of your supply. The night is dressed like noon. So night's got like the lights. The rain isn't coming. A sailor spoke too soon, and China's on the dark side of the moon. Okay, so like the dark side of the moon, that's the side of the moon we never see, and it's dark. Okay, I don't get this line. Platypus are a few, the secret life of Rue, a personality I never knew. My Greta weighs a ton, the archer's on the run, and no one stands alone behind the sun. No one stands alone behind the sun. So on the other side of the sun, we can't see that, obviously. It's blocked. I mean, I don't know the details of what this means, but the idea is we're not seeing light, or we're seeing light when we're not supposed to see light at midnight. And so it's been a long time since I made a new friend. Okay, that's negative. I'm not like connecting with people, waiting on another black summer to end. It's been a long time, and you never know when waiting on another black summer to end, because you don't know when it's going to end. And the idea is that it doesn't seem to end. Crack the flaming whip, are sailing on our censorship. I love that line. They do these nice kind of puns. Is that a pun? Or anyway, censorship. You're not able to speak. You're stopped from having your voice. Riding on a headless horse to make the trip. The headless horse. I'm thinking of the headless horseman, which is like this mythical creature, but it's not the headless horseman. It's the headless horse. In any case, you're not going to get anywhere riding a headless horse. Been a long time since I made a new friend, etc. So, waiting, and not getting anywhere. So this is the story of a nihilistic story. Like there's the play Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett, who also is a beautiful dramatist, playwright. He wrote some novels as well, but mostly a playwright, where he wrestles with this question of nothingness. Is my life, is the human existence just nothing? Is it just full of dread and anxiety, or is there a possibility of fulfillment, of hope, of that we're directed towards that's what it's all about. That's the question. So that is where I'll stop us.